Hi, welcome to lesson 9-3. Tonight we're going to be talking about mixed numbers and improper fractions. A mixed number is a whole number and a fraction together. So we have the mixed number of 3½ The whole number is 3 and the fraction is a half. An improper fraction is a fraction whose numerator, remember that's the top number, is greater than or equal to its denominator, which is the bottom number. So right here we have the fraction of 13/4. The 13 on the top is greater than the 4 on the bottom. Tonight we're going to be looking at how do you change a mixed number to an improper fraction, and how do you do the reverse? How do you change an improper fraction back to a mixed number? Let's first look at a mixed number here. This number is 2 and 3/4. Notice my 2 is the whole number, it's very large, and 3/4 is my fraction. Down below, I have circles to represent. I have 2 whole circles and 3 out of the 4 sections filled in on the last circle. Now, if I was asked to convert this to an improper fraction, I want to show you how that would work. There's a trick to it. I'm going to first start with the denominator. The denominator's on the bottom. That's number 4. I'm going to draw an arrow over here to the 2. What I have to first do is I have to multiply. So I'm going to take 4 times 2 and I come up with an 8. Okay, I'm going to follow my circle around. There's my 8. Do you see where I got that from? 4 times 2 is 8. Now I'm going to continue on to my circle towards my 3. What I need to do is I need to add that 3. So it's going to be 8 plus 3 is 11. There is going to be my new numerator. It's going to be 11. And I'm going to keep the denominator the same. I have 4 over on the left side. I'm going to have 4 over on the right side. So my mixed number is 2 and 3/4, which converts or is equal to the improper fraction of 11/4. I'll show you how that works on the circle. All right, 11/4. I have circles that are divided into 4 sections. I should have 11 of them filled in. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The circles are exactly the same. I didn't change the circles. All I did was add them, add the lines to make them into the fractions, and counted 11. Do you see how 2 and 3/4 is the same as 11/4? Let's take a look at another example. My example is 3 and 1/4. Down below, I have 3 full circles filled in for my whole number and 1 section out of the 4 sections filled in for my fraction. We need to change that to an improper fraction. Remember, first I start with my denominator at the bottom and I multiply these together. 4 times 3 is 12. I'm following my circle around and I'll write my 12 up there. 12, do you remember what you do with the numerator now? 12 plus 1 is 13. What do I have for my denominator? Once again, I have a 4 down at the bottom. So 3 and 1/4 is equal to 13/4. Let's see if that works out with my picture. I have 13/4, so I need to make my circles into 4 equal sections. Trying the best I can with drawing here. Let's see if I have 13 sections filled in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 3 1/4 is equal to 13/4. Let's take a look at another one. Let's do 4 1/2. How would I change that to an improper fraction? What do I first do you remember? I multiply. 2 times 4 is 8. I always like to write it up there because I'm following my circle around. 8. Do you remember what you do to end it? 8 plus 1 is 9. What do I do for my denominator? I keep it the same, it's 2. So 4 1/2 is equal to the improper fraction of 9/2. Let's take a look at another one. 6 1/3. How would I change that to an improper fraction? 3 times 6 is 18. 18 plus 1 is 19. And my denominator is that 3. So 6 1/3 is equal to 19/3. I'm going to put one on the screen. On your notebook, I want you just to use a little tiny corner of your new page, and I want you to try it yourself. 5, whole number 5, 3/4. Notice when you write it, you make a big 5, and then your 3/4 for your fraction. Pause it, try it on your own, and then see if you have the correct answer. All right, let's check it. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23. And my denominator is a 4. If you got 23/4, you were correct. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the opposite. We're going to take an improper fraction and make it back into a mixed number. 22/3. Notice my numerator, 22, is greater than my denominator, 3. How would I change this back into a mixed number? I have to first think, how many 3's are in 22? Well, let's see. If I can't do it in my head, let's try to figure it out. There aren't any 3's in 2. How many 3's in 22? There are 7, because 7 times 3 is 21. I subtract, I get 1, so I have a remainder of 1. So when I am doing this improper fraction, there are 7 whole numbers of 3 in 22, and there's 1 remaining, which would be my fraction, and I'm going to keep the same denominator as 3. So 22/3 is equal to 7 1/3. Let's take a look. I'll show you another one. Let's take the improper fraction of 5/4. 5/4. I need to think how many 4's are in 5. You might be able to do this in your head. If you can't, simply do a quick division. How many 4's are in 5? 1, with a remainder of 1. So my mixed number would be 1 whole with my remainder of 1, and my denominator stays the same. Let's do another example. My next example is going to be 21/2. I need to think how many 2's are in 21. You might be able to do this in your head. Let's divide it out. How many 2's are in 2? 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Bring down the 1. How many 2's are in 1? Nothing. So I have 10, remainder 1. So my mixed number for 22 halves would be a whole number 10, remainder 1 over my denominator of 2. Let's take a look at another one. I really want you to know how to do this so we're ready to go tomorrow. If I have the fraction of 5 halves, how would I change that into a mixed number? I have to think how many 2's are in 5. You might already be able to do that in your head. 2, 4, I can't do any more. So that would be a whole 2. And I have 1 left over, that's my remainder, over 2. Now watch. Let's go back to what we learned before. Let's take the mixed number and change it back to see if we get 5 halves. So how did I do that again? 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 1 is 5. And what do I keep for my denominator? It always stays the same. So 5 over 2 is equal to 2.5. And then I made it back equal to 5 over 2. Do you see how that works? Let's look at one last example. Let's look at the number of Let's look at the number of 9/4. 9/4. I have to first think how many 4's are in 9. 4, 8. So there's 2 whole ones. How many are left over? 1 over 4. If you're confused how to do that in your head, remember you just have to simply divide. How many 4's are in 9? 2. Remainder 1. So I got my 2, remainder 1. Let's quick change this back to make sure that we were correct. 4 times 2 is 8. Whoops. 8 plus 1 is 9. And my denominator stays the same. Do you notice how that can convert back and forth? So mixed numbers and improper fractions correlate to each other. Take out your notebook, please. Let's start some notes. 9-3. A mixed number is a whole number and a fraction. An improper fraction is a fraction whose numerator is greater than or equal to its denominator. Here are 2 examples. Pause it. I would like you to change the top one, a mixed number, into an improper fraction, and the bottom number into a mixed number. Pause it. Let's see if you can do it, and then check your work. All right, let's see. 2 4/5. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 plus 4 is 14. And my denominator stays the same. Let's take a look down below. I need to think how many 6's are in 8. There's 1 whole 6 in 8. I would have a remainder of 2. And my 6 stays the same. I hope you are feeling confident about mixed numbers and improper fractions. We will see you tomorrow.